As artists, we've all asked ourselves, what's the one thing I can make that truly fuels me? The thing that gives new inspiration, that makes me feel alive. For us, we realized it wasn't just about the work, it's about connection. That spark when you see yourself in someone else's struggle, someone else's rebellion. This podcast is our act of rebellion against the silence of creating alone. We hit record and said, just publish. At its core, Rebel Artists Through Time is about building a community of creators, past and present. We dive into the lives of history's rebels, artists, filmmakers, musicians, and writers, because their echoes are still with us. Their stories fuel ours. And as we tell them, we shine a light forward toward the new voices emerging today. It's our way of saying, you're not alone in the struggle. You're part of the lineage of legends. And if you've ever felt restless, misunderstood, or on fire with an idea you just couldn't put down, you're already one of us. This is Rebel Artists Through Time. Today on this episode, we're kind of bouncing back to one of my picks, one of my main influences. Last time, Sebastian picked Jerry Lee Lewis, who was a big influence on him. And this time I'm picking one that had a huge influence on me, especially when I was in high school as a teenager, and his name is Quentin Tarantino. What was the first Tarantino movie you saw?
Oh, Inglourious Basterds.
Okay, yeah, that was mine too. And I kind of have to I have to admit something. When I first started watching it, I didn't actually like it.
Inglourious Basterds?
Yeah, I didn't get it. It was really, the opening scene was great, but I don't know, for some reason, I didn't click with the style. I guess I was expecting a very typical dramatic war movie, and it's not that at all. It's almost like a pulpy graphic novel.
Yeah, I actually didn't like it either. When did that movie come out? When did Inglourious Basterds come out?
2008.
2008. Boy, James, my brother, he's a historian, right? And so when I first watched that, I thought it was going to be like a World War II movie. I knew nothing about it.
Yeah.
And they machine gun Hitler in the theater there, and I was like...
And it's not factual at all.
No, it took me a while before I think if you don't know who he is, it's a difficult one to start.
What it was really... So Inglourious Basterds didn't really do it for me, for some reason or another. But we'll get back to it. We'll get back to that one. I want to talk about that one a lot. But it was... I first discovered Quentin where it was really a lightning bolt moment for me was... I think it was when we were both in high school, or maybe just before high school, and I was trying to figure out, expanding my cinematic education, and the place I decided to start was that IMDb top 250 movies of all time list. So I thought, okay, well, I'll just start here. I think the number one movie of all time on that list is Shawshank Redemption.
Really?
Yeah, but anyway, in the top 10, I remember was always this movie called Pulp Fiction, and from the cover, it was just Uma Thurman, laying on her belly with a cigarette in her hand. Oh, that's gotta be some sort of 80s, 90s, rated R, flick, something to do with crime and drugs. I'm like, okay, maybe I'll watch that. Pulp Fiction just changed my whole perception on movies. It just totally blew my whole world or expectations of what a movie could be. And from that moment forward, I was just like, who's this Tarantino guy? And then I watched more of his movies. I think after watching Pulp Fiction, I went back to Inglourious Basterds, and I'm like, okay, now I get it.
Right. So you enjoyed Inglourious Basterds after you'd seen...
Yeah, it was really Pulp Fiction that did it for me. It was the dialogue, the scenes, I loved how he just took this typical plot structure that everyone else is doing and just tosses it out of the window. We're going to start at the end, go back to the middle, and then pull from the beginning the structure and chronology is totally out of order, and it's more of an anthology movie where it's a collection of stories that like seemingly have nothing to do with each other, but then suddenly link up and intertwine at random parts.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really, it took me a while. I loved it when I first saw it, but just because of the atmosphere.
Yeah. It's
It
just one
took
of
me a
the,
while
the
to-
coolest movies ever. It just opens
Yeah,
with
it
two
is.
hitmen going to a job, and they're talking about Amsterdam and hamburgers.
Yeah, right. Yeah, there's something really magical about that movie. It's like it makes you feel good whenever you watch it. And I don't know what it is about it. A mutual friend of ours, Phil, when he was going through his divorce, he just watched it over and over again. Just watched Pulp Fiction like into the night. He couldn't
That's not
sleep.
too
He
bad,
just watched.
actually.
Yeah. It's like there's something really, and I get that actually because I went through a phase where I did that because I was really stressed about something, and I was watching it, and there's something. I don't know whether it's because it's almost, to me, it's almost an absurd movie. Like
It's
it's
absurd yet very, very smart and clever, though.
yeah, absolutely.
Like the
It's smart, but
situations in it are absurd. Like you have the one story with the date that with Uma Thurman and John Travolta, where it's just, oh, you got to take the boss's wife out for a date so she doesn't get lonely, but don't sleep with her. You cannot sleep with her. And it's Uma Thurman, and she's drop dead gorgeous, and Travolta has to stand in the bathroom and says, being loyal is very important.
yeah, and he's like, I'm gonna go home, jerk off, everything.
Yeah, like he's trying his hardest to, rein in his hormones, I guess.
So this was your first real introduction to him, and then
Yeah.
had you seen anything remotely like that before? Was it your first?
Maybe the closest thing. I can't remember if I saw it before or after, but I remember Fight Club was another one of those movies for me where this is totally different from most things I've ever seen. Granted, I was still very young, so a lot of what I seen was just, the Star Wars and the sci-fi fantasy stuff you and I grew up on.
Right.
The big franchise stuff. That's what I grew up on. And then it was really mainly Pulp Fiction. I was like, wow, you can literally do anything with movies. Just have a random scene with a close up on the back of someone's head with a Band-Aid and then not explain it.
Yeah. And the gold thing and
with like the briefcase, and he never tells us what's in it. There's just like theories surrounding it.
Yeah. And that was his second movie, right?
Yeah, that was his second movie. Yeah, that's right.
Pretty crazy that.
Mm-hmm.
So what was his kind of, because I actually don't really know anything about I've seen all of his movies, but I actually don't know anything about his life or his backstory or anything. So what was his kind of?
He was a Hollywood kid. He grew up in California, or at least near Hollywood. And he's kind of famous because he's one of those self-made filmmakers that didn't go to film school. He worked of all places in a video rental store.
That's right. Yeah.
And that was basically what he calls his film education. He was like he has an infamous encyclopedic knowledge of all movies, good, bad, and boring, everything in between. And he watches everything, even some of like the obscure stuff from overseas. Like he actually did a lot to promote a lot of specifically Asian movies into the US market, particularly from like Korea and Japan and Hong Kong too. And he really didn't become famous until I think his 30s, and he penned the script he wrote and directed Reservoir Dogs, and that's what really put him on the map. And the script was so good that Harvey Keitel read it, and he was sold on the script that he agreed to produce and finance some of it himself.
Yeah,
he just read the script and just thought this is one of the most brilliant things, and I think that we gotta make this.
And he helped him with casting too, didn't he?
Yeah, Harvey Keitel took on a big role and helped Quentin really get noticed.
Yeah, that's actually, I mean, this is a bit controversial opinion maybe, but Reservoir Dogs is my favorite Tarantino movie.
It's not near my favorites. It does rank lower for me, but that's not to say it's bad.
Oh no, it's good. It's
I
just
just prefer his other stuff too, so that's actually not that controversial.
I think for me the reason was just about it is the story for me because Pulp Fiction had that really twisting story, and all those other movies have this the storyline that they have is really like.
Hmm.
And Reservoir Dogs is it's great, but it's I think I should have seen it earlier in the.
There's a big stretch where we go to a flashback with Tim Roth when he is an undercover cop. The tension and suspense really slows down during those sequences. Like, the movie
I
really
gotta
does slow
rewatch
down quite a bit.
the scene I remember the most is the scene that ruins the song, stuff in
Oh
the middle.
god, yeah, that torture scene. The first time I saw it, I remember I was very uncomfortable.
It's really uncomfortable. Yeah, I mean, I'm a big that kind of thing. Yeah, because he's really to me he's my favorite director as well. But I think what I love about him is that he's almost like he's one of those directors like Hitchcock or Kubrick where you know it's a Tarantino movie.
Yeah, he's very much got his signature on it.
Yeah, and he's such a good writer.
Hmm.
Like his dialogue is amazing. It's just I actually think I don't know whether I there's anyone else for me who's as good of a dialogue writer.
Yeah, because like the thing with Quentin is that like he's very influenced by like French New Wave style filmmaking from like Francois Truffaut, Godard, where it was they got much more experimental with their storytelling and didn't really follow, you know, screenwriting books and plot structure and 3 acts, 4 acts, whatever.
Mm.
Quentin says like, okay, we're just gonna start this movie like right in the middle or right at the end.
Right. What I love about Pulp Fiction, I mean, for me, is that like when the movie ends, it kind of ends at the beginning, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you know everything that's going to happen
Mm-hmm.
after they walk out of the diner there.
Yeah,
Do you still have the wallet?
the intensity of them trying to rob a diner, robbing
Yeah.
restaurants. The movie makes a pretty good case to rob restaurants.
So what more about his kind of like how much do you know about his whole
A
his
bit.
life or his philosophy, his kind of
Oh, the philosophy stuff? Oh gosh. I feel like I would have to like go a deep dive into to like all of his movies again and figure that out. But I know he's just what's clear is that he is like such a cinephile and he does a lot of not secret, but like little homages to the history of cinema here and there. Like there's a lot of that in Inglourious Bastards, where he talks about Joseph Goebbels, who was the filmmaker for Hitler's Nazi Party, and they have like the charades game with the cards on their head, and there's the whole part about the where he's got to like the German soldier has the King Kong card on his head, and then the whole insinuating that that King Kong is a allegory for like black slavery.
oh right.
Yeah, or even in Pulp Fiction, like there's like many scenes, or not just Pulp Fiction, but Reservoir Dogs as well, where there was just characters driving in a car and they're talking about TV shows that they used to watch.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah.
that was something that was never really done by other writers or filmmakers of the time, where they're really outright talking about pulp culture from their past, and that's what kind of made it very relatable for people.
Hmm.
Or even just talking about hamburgers in Paris, and
Yeah.
they're not called quarter pounders with cheese.
Yeah, and you can get a beer in a McDonald's.
Yeah.
That's true still, you know?
Yeah, no, it is true. I remember when I first went to Paris to check out a McDonald's to see if it was true, and lo and behold, I saw the royal cheese.
Yeah, Royale with cheese, yeah. Royale cheese. Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, I love his stuff. My favorite of his is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh
It's
yeah,
like
yeah.
yeah,
Why is that
it's
one your favorite?
uh for a multitude of reasons. I mean, one of the main ones is that I've always been obsessed with kind of the late 50s into the 60s. that time period, and I think it's so the entire thing, just like Hollywood in the '60s, is great. But it's also I don't know, it's there's something about it for me, which one is it's really vindicating because the people who did that stuff were such horrible people. Um, but on the other side, it's like that was a it's like his like you I mean I think you said it before that that movie was like his love letter to Hollywood.
And a bit of his
And
like childhood.
yeah, but also what he's making a movie about, which is what's interesting about it to me, is that is the end of the. I mean, obviously, 1969 is obviously the end of the '60s, but it was the end of the hippie period. Like the that murder of Sharon Tate was basically the thing that killed the hippies. Um, and it kind of like it was this peace and love thing that ended really sourly with this horrid thing that happened. And he
Mm-hmm.
kind of like rewrites history with it. And I don't know. I mean, there's interesting sort of interpretations of the movie, which I don't know whether I care about that much because I think it's just like, just the entertainment factor, it's genius. Um,
It really transports you to that era.
oh yeah, and it's so funny. I mean, it's like, I think for me, it's the funniest
That
of his
yeah, it's
movies.
probably one of the best performances from Brad Pitt.
And DiCaprio.
Yeah.
DiCaprio's character is the funniest thing in that movie.
That
Like,
room trashing scene in his trailer.
I just love how he's
It's
always
like, you're
on the
gonna
brink
quit
of tears.
drinking. You're gonna quit drinking, takes a wig.
And how he's always like on the brink of tears as well. It's just so,
He's
he's
just
such a
this like
brilliant
washed
character.
up like television Western actor that is just slowly being like phased out and forgotten by everybody.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I think as well, after seeing him in Django Unchained, seeing him in that role is just really
Hmm.
fantastic.
He's kind of like what happened to Henry Fonda, where Henry Fonda was like a leading man for many many years, and then he was slowly just getting like phased out by the studios and the broadcast network companies, and he made his like big comeback playing the heavy in those like Italian westerns and like Once Upon a
Yeah,
Time in the West.
that's
Yeah.
right.
Which,
Yeah, was it?
which, if I may, is important to bring up is was directed by Sergio Leone, which is Quentin's probably his biggest influence.
Ah,
Besides the French New Wave, he routinely says that Sergio Leone is his favorite filmmaker and his favorite movie is Good, Bad, and the Ugly.
oh
Which
yeah.
makes total sense because when you watch Good, Bad, and the Ugly, it's like, oh my god, this is literally just like has Quentin's just been like ripping off this movie forever.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's a good point. I haven't seen the other two movies. I've only seen that one.
Yeah, unfortunately me too. Well, maybe perhaps after today we can both watch the Dollars movies.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'd like to do that. Um, yeah, I like that I mean, in the sense of how, as a rebellious character in what our podcast is about here, I think for
Hmm.
me, there's something provocative about him,
Yeah,
uh,
definitely.
not just in his violence, but also in, really, Django Unchained was such a big deal because of how it dealt with slavery.
Yeah.
Uh, and it was really, and he's
It
really,
didn't hold back any of the punches. And yet it
no, and
still was able to maintain like that sort of big Western action hero blockbuster feel to it without it being too like exploitative or even like I don't want to use degrading, but just it treated the material earnestly and honestly and as brutally as it was back then, and then was still able to make this like black cowboy, like this slave turned black outlaw cowboy into the hero at the end that gets his revenge on the masters.
yeah, it's brilliant on so many levels, and that kind of he raises a hero out of this kind of it's like he shows both how horrific it was,
Hmm.
because I don't think any other movie about slavery shows how. I mean, maybe
There's been some. There's been some. I remember 12 Years a Slave came out like a year after by Steve McQueen. That was also like a very brutal movie, but that wasn't so much an action movie like Quentin's.
no, But the other thing that he does, because that movie is very much like he shows the way it really was and then creates this hero story within it. But Inglourious Bastards, to me, is my sort of interpretation of that movie is that it's what America thinks happened. You know, like there's a lot of really interesting things in those movies, like in that movie, like how basically this group of American Jews just like single-handedly win the Second World War.
Yeah,
And
by scalping and blowing up a theater.
Yeah, right. And they're the ones who like they actually kill Hitler. There's none of this other stuff that happens, and also the guy, you know, like Hans Lander, he tries to make a deal with them, and they brand him with the thing, right?
Yeah.
And I think what's interesting to me about that movie is that one, that's not what happened at all. Like the Americans, sure, they did come in and
Yeah.
were a big part of it, but you know, there was the Russians, there was all this stuff. They didn't single-handedly win the war.
Yeah, it's
So
like
I think
it's
that-
pretty ambitious what he did to just like totally make a totally fictitious
Yeah.
interpretation of the Second World War, which is like totally unheard of, but he did it and pulled and it really worked.
It did, but and then the other thing is that the Nazis who did what Hans Lander did weren't branded as Nazis. Like the guy who got us to the moon was Werner von Braun, and he was Hitler's rocket scientist.
Mm-hmm.
And he was the guy who headed up the Apollo space missions and got us landed on the moon.
Mm-hmm.
And like hardly anyone knows that.
Yeah.
You know, it's like they got, it was Operation Paperclip, and the Americans swooped in and picked up all these Nazi scientists. And there's this really spooky story that they brought them back to the States, and all the guys at NASA were like,
I mean,
"We're not
it
working."
would have been a lot of intelligent, knowledgeable people gone to waste. You know,
Yeah, but
because the
thing
Germans
is,
were so technologically advanced over everyone else at the time. Not like too. Okay, maybe that's a bit of a stretch, but their modernization was very rapid and pretty outstanding in the previous century.
yeah, but you know, if they hadn't this like crazy thing with the Nazis, like if they hadn't have had their whole Jewish thing, they would have probably won the war because like all their best scientists were Jews.
Yeah.
They all left.
Yeah.
But anyway, like I think for me, that's the thing with Inglourious Bastards is like it's kind of like how America sees the Second War. It's this really fictitious thing, and the reality is not really
Like, yeah, we went over there and kicked the Nazis' butts.
Yeah, right. It's kind of it's interesting, and so he has this real provocative side to him where he wants you to think like he's often he seems to be often taken as someone who's just really violent or really whatever, but you know,
Yeah, at
for
surface
me,
level.
he makes you want to think about things, or he wants you to think about history in a different way. Maybe not in Kill Bill, but you know, like sometimes he wants to.
Yeah.
He wants you to look at something differently.
But like the way he does violence is it's just good cinema. Like it's just purely escapism. Like the violence is like at points so over the top and absurd. And when it happens, it's always like he takes you to the highest point of suspense as possible, and all of a sudden it just drops and bodies and blood fly everywhere.
Yeah.
Even like characters that like, you know, we've been following and love throughout the whole time, and all of a sudden they're just not around.
Right. Yeah. I remember the first
Like he just
time I
straight
saw
up
that,
kills
like,
John Travolta in the middle of Pulp Fiction, and then we just see him later, you know, later in the movie.
that was so good. He's like, Bruce Willis finds the Uzi on the counter and here's the toilet flushing.
And then Pop-Tarts fly, and so do the bullets.
Every time a toaster goes off, I think about that. That's every time.
And that's
Yeah.
such like a pin drop moment. Like as an audience member, you've been like following John Travolta has been like your main character, your main lead through most of the movie, and then he's just randomly killed by this new character. And I remember when I first saw it, I didn't know what to think of it. I'm like, okay, I guess he's just dead now. Like it's like he showed up and didn't get any sort of closure whatsoever.
Well, he's a very John Travolta's character is pretty awful, you know.
Yeah, that's the kind of the theme of Pulp Fiction is about redemption. Every single of the stories ultimately is about redemption, where it follows the main character of each. They go on a arc of change to redeem themselves from this life of crime. Like Sam Jackson, uh, he's a
Okay, well,
hitman, but then he survives through a divine intervention. All those like bullets from that hand cannon, they go like either right through them or around them and like the wall. And he says, "This was an act of God. I need to change. I need to walk the earth and become the shepherd." So he redeems himself and survives. Whereas Travolta, he doesn't buy it. He just says like, "Oh, it just we were lucky. It just happens," and he doesn't make it.
no, he
Like
doesn't.
Bruce
He lost.
Willis, he redeems himself. He was about to leave Marcellus, the guy who was, that he broke the under the table deal with to win the boxing match, and then Marcellus, chases after him through the streets, but then they both get captured by uh by those disgusting rapists, and he could have left him get raped or in that basement even more, but he decides to go back and to save his the guy who was like hunting to kill him anyway.
Yeah, that
Mhm.
actually is my favorite line in the movie when he's when they like saves Marcellus from those guys, and he's like, you okay, man?" And Marcellus is like,
He's like,
"No,
"No,
man."
man, I'm pretty fucking far from okay."
Yeah.
Back to Once Upon a Time, it's actually funny you say that's your favorite because I saw him on a podcast and on like Howard Stern, and he asked him like, "Quentin, which do you think is your best movie?" And he thinks Once Upon a Time is his best movie.
It is really, really good.
I disagree. I still like hold Pulp Fiction as his greatest
Okay,
still.
for me, I think Pulp Fiction is his best movie.
I see. But
It's
your
just the Once Upon
favorite
a Time.
is yeah.
Yeah, yeah, Pulp Fiction by far. Like, cause like it's just so. Pulp Fiction is it like you said. I think it's such a revolutionary movie,
Hmm.
and it's perfect,
It's so
and it's
quotable.
it's so quotable, and it's like I think it's him at his best.
Hmm.
I think for me, it's just there's a bunch of reasons why I like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It's my favorite, but I do think that Pulp Fiction is his best movie. Uh, I don't dislike any of his stuff. It must be hard now, though. I mean, like he canceled the movie he's making now, right?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see about that. I think there's some stuff going on behind the scenes, but I'd rather wait to talk about that when it's out.
For
Because
sure.
the next one I watched after Inglorious and Pulp Fiction, which are probably my top three favorite Tarantino movies, the second or third, which I didn't expect, was actually recommended by my mom because she was catching on like, "Oh, you like Pulp Fiction, like Inglorious? You should watch Kill Bill." And I watched Kill Bill, and I had a very similar reaction after Pulp Fiction. I thought it was just one of the greatest things I ever saw. Like
Totally.
it's so stylized. Like the way it like breaks up the story, like, it does like the whole like telling out of order, and then all of a sudden for this random sequence, we're gonna tell a flashback about one of the assassins, and it's all in this Japanese style.
I don't remember that part.
Yeah, we like tell the backstory of Oren Ishii, and she was, her parents were killed by some Japanese mob boss, and she trains to become an assassin and exacts revenge, and then becomes the exact same mob boss that killed her family.
Oh, right.
Yeah, like it's so stylized, that movie, and the fight with the crazy 88s at the end. It makes me wish that Quentin would do more martial arts action flicks, because he's really got like he's got a great sense of style and shot making and choreo. I know he didn't choreograph the fights, but his shots and like the way it was all cut together, it just like the feel and the rhythm, it feels brutal but very satisfying.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, it's yeah, I've actually only seen Kill Bill once.
Both
Um,
volumes.
yeah,
Okay.
And I remember liking the second part more.
Yeah, I have a lot of friends that like Volume 2. I prefer Volume 1 myself.
I think it's the stuff with Bill. I
Yeah.
think it's like really it's great. It feels more kind of personal.
Yeah.
And how he dies is pretty cool.
I loved how you never see his face in the first Volume 1. Like he keeps that
Yeah.
aura of mystery, and then you finally see it's David Carradine in Volume 2.
Yeah, right. And he's great in that role.
Mm-hmm.
Got to rewatch that.
Yeah. One thing I would like to point out, this is not just this is true for all of his movies, not just the ones we've talked about, but his soundtracks. I love the songs he chooses. He'll even like choose songs from like old like Western movies, or like just randomly have like the intro theme for like old TV shows. Like there's like randomly the Green Hornet theme, the old Green Hornet intro theme song plays in Kill Bill.
Yeah, he's got a great taste in music.
Or just we're in Inglourious Bastards and all of a sudden we hear a David Bowie track.
Yeah,
He's got a great mind for song choices.
he does. Which again is why I love um Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, because it's got all my favorite music.
Yeah, I love when Hush by Deep Purple comes on when where it's Roman Polanski and Sharon Tate driving home. I just love it's just the atmosphere of that movie was so great. I get why you love it so much.
Fantastic. Yeah. And they got all the they got Steve McQueen in there, right? It's so cool. It's this the golden age of Hollywood, I guess. Well, it's actually the golden age of Hollywood, I suppose, would have been before that. But it's definitely the coolest age. You know, all those guys from the 60s, 70s. Yeah. And so I would love it when the first time you see that movie. I think what I love about it is like you're dreading it, because if you know the history, you're like, oh,
You know what's going to happen to Sharon at some point, and then they hint with everything with where you see Charles Manson go up to her door. And then there's the whole sequence where Brad Pitt goes to Spawn Ranch and sees all the women and all the guys like on Spawn Ranch. They've like commandeered this old movie ranch. And there's just it's very suspenseful. It's very suspenseful. Like you can just as soon as they arrive, you can tell something is wrong. And yet nothing like actually I don't want to say nothing happens, but it just turns out that this guy that they've like kidnapped, the Bruce Dern character, is just so out of it, and he's so blind and deaf that he's just kind of accepted it.
yeah, he doesn't. Yeah, that part's pretty brutal.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was all real stuff, right?
Yeah.
Spawn Ranch and all that stuff, which is, I just love like you're anticipating this horrible thing, and then like Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio just kill all these guys.
Yeah, at the ending, it was almost weird because it's like this movie feels like it's gonna end soon, and we haven't had very much violence yet. Like we've had Brad Pitt smack someone in the face, and he threw Bruce Lee into a car. But like, wait, are we really not gonna have our signature blood gore fest from a Quentin Tarantino flick? And then lo and behold, he smokes a cigarette dipped in acid, and then the Manson kids show up to Leo DiCaprio's house instead of Sharon Tate.
Yeah.
And I remember like their reasoning in the car before they go in is, wouldn't it be great if we killed the people that taught us to be violent from those old movies or the old TV shows?
Yeah, right.
Except Brad Pitt's there and he's got a dog.
Yes.
A bloodthirsty dog.
Yeah, he's got a pit bull, yeah.
Yeah.
And I love the part, like the whole thing with like Leo scrambles out of the pool to the shed and then comes out with his flamethrower.
Like his action is so violent and so like gruesome and appalling, yet when it happens, it's like kind of funny. It's like darkly funny.
It's funny, but it's such a fantasy thing because they murdered a pregnant woman. You know, those people.
Yeah.
It's like, there's nothing that Leo or Brad Pitt could have done that you'd feel bad. You know, I
It
think
helps that the people that they're killing are, you know,
scum.
yeah, scum.
Yeah, yeah, they're
It's
total
not
scum.
like psychotic scum. Like that's the
Yeah.
same with Inglorious, is when you don't care that what's happening to these Nazis because
Oh yeah, you really
you
don't.
can scalp them, you can beat them with a baseball bat, and it's justified.
Yeah, although it's really interesting that the Nazi that he beats with the baseball bat, that part of the movie is really chilling for me because that guy, I actually have a lot of respect for that guy, you know? It's the Nazi he beats to death,
Hmm.
and he's so
Oh yeah,
like,
he respectfully refuses to like betray his men. Yeah.
yeah, and he just faces him. Yeah, that part's really chilling
Hmm.
because it's like this guy's an honorable guy and he's a Nazi, and it's kind of
He
yeah.
dies being a Nazi. He says, "Fuck you and the Jew dogs." And then they're all just kind of like laughing and clapping because they're like, "Oh, we're just all tickled to hear you say that. Watching Donnie beat Nazis to death is the closest thing we get to going to the cinema."
Yeah, that's right.
Hey, Donnie, got a Nazi wants to die for his country. Oblige him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then what
That's-
proceeds is just this buildup as he's like smacking the walls with the bat as he like
Yeah.
slowly comes out, the bear Jew.
Yeah.
And when it happens, like, yeah, it's like gruesome and bloody, but you kind of feel good inside when it happens. You're like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, you feel really good. Yeah, so that guy's the one guy I don't feel good watching. I think there's the part I always feel great with is like what I can't remember what the line is. And he's like, we both know what happens next. And he's like, and what's that? The guy's like, say Evita's into your Nazi balls.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's just that that whole like parlor sequence goes from, it feels like 30-40 minutes where they're in the
Yeah.
parlor and they're just and it's not even like their objective, their destination. They're just meeting up there, and then Nazis just happen to be celebrating because one of them just gave birth to a son, or their wife gave birth to a son, and everything's going like supposedly smoothly. Like, okay, like these soldiers are filled with alcohol. We'll probably get through this. But then in the back, one of the commanders is there, and he catches on that this German ranking officer has got a funny name and a funny accent, and the way he says
Yeah, that's the other
three
thing. See,
glasses
yeah.
is the tip off.
Yeah, that's another example of what you said earlier about how he'll just kill off characters and like they set up Michael Fassbender as this it was a big setup, for this
Mm-hmm.
guy, and then he just dies.
Yeah,
Like the next scene when they're in that.
because he says three glace instead of the German three.
I've started using the German 3. It's more comfortable actually.
Yeah, I think I agree. I
Yeah,
just instinctually do this though.
yeah,
Oh, but anyway, yeah. Can we talk about
uh,
Django? We talked a little bit about Django earlier, but I want to talk about Django.
yeah, yeah. We can talk about Django.
One of like the most glorious shootouts I've ever seen.
Yeah, and it's not even over. I remember it was.
Yeah, while we hear like Tupac in the background, it's like it's so fitting.
Yeah, that movie. I think out of all of his movies, I know that Hans Lander is great, but to me, Calvin Candy is the most horrific villain in
Yeah.
Tarantino.
Yeah, he really is. Like in his intro, it's just
So
he's
intense.
watching black slave Mandingo fighters, and that. There's a lot of scenes like we were just talking about how the violence in his movies can be oddly funny and fun to watch, but in Django, it's very he treats it differently. It's tougher.
It's difficult. Yeah, that the Mandingo parts and the
The dogs. I remember the dogs really freaked me out.
yeah, that's really freaky.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something so I don't know why Christoph Waltz in Inglourious Bastards is not as unsettling for me. But I think because he's almost like there's something almost superhuman about his character in Inglourious Bastards. Whereas like the Calvin Candy is such a, I don't know, that he's like another level of horrible in some sense, and I can't really put my finger on exactly what it is. But he's so scary in the sense that he's just so overtly cruel, or
I think it's just that cruelness. Because I actually am the opposite. I think Hans Landa is a much more sinister and scary villain. Just that opening scene alone where he's investigating the French farmer's house and they're having that conversation. He pulls out that big giant pipe because my pipe's bigger than yours. And he just knows that they're sheltering Jews in the floorboards, and even drinks their milk. He plays with you. Landa plays with you because he's like so intelligent. He's such a detective, and because he says, "I am like a hawk, and I find the rats, and the Jews are rats."
Right? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's horrifying. I think it's the sport thing for me because like Calvin Candy, it's all about it's a sport.
I would say it's a sport for Hans Landa as well, because remember when Shoshana, she escapes at the beginning and she's running away in the field, and he pulls out a pistol, aiming it at her, and he's oopsie, and he doesn't shoot her to keep the chase going. So I think, maybe Calvin Candy and Hans Landa, since they both came from the same mind, they're more similar than we thought.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, like Hans Landa is more like a cat, right? He's like the cat and the mouse
playing with its food.
Play with his food, yeah. Django, there's so many great parts about Django, and it's kind of, I do prefer it to Inglourious Basterds.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, it's such an epic movie, and everyone's great in there. It's really disappointing that Leonardo DiCaprio didn't get the Oscar for that movie, because he was just like...
I actually think Sam Jackson was in contention as well. I mean, obviously, Christoph Waltz was the best part of that movie, but I think Sam Jackson is Stephen, the old slave that's almost like a surrogate parent to Calvin, but he's also a servant. And he's the most despicable black man because he tortures and beats other black people who are oppressed.
Yeah.
He's the traitor,
He's such a horrifying character as well.
And he ends up becoming the real villain at the end, because Calvin gets shot by Christoph Waltz. So the two, it becomes a showdown between Django and Steven at the end.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, blow up the house at the end.
I'm a slower.
Yeah, right.
She just flies off frame. Like, nothing would... I don't think a pistol would send you flying like that. Maybe I'm wrong.
No. Those pistols they used to use, I think, were pretty powerful, but
she went like flying.
Yeah, she goes flying backwards. I think that was mostly, and she goes flying like directly backwards too, like not diagonally.
I count 6 shots. I count 2 guns.
Yeah. So for me, it's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Pulp Fiction, and Django Unchained.
Yeah.
But very close behind that.
Are you going to say what I think you're going to say? Okay. I'm so happy you said that, because I think Death Proof might be my 4th or 5th favorite too.
Death Proof is so underrated.
This is the part of the podcast where a lot of people might turn it off or think we're hot garbage opinions. We both love Death Proof.
Yeah, Death Proof is fucking great.
Everyone says, oh, it's Quentin's worst movie, and even he himself says it's his worst movie. I did not expect to enjoy it as much as I did.
Did he say it was his worst movie?
Yeah, he believes it's his worst. I mean...
Oh, no. That movie's great.
I loved Death Proof.
And Kurt Russell is so
He's
scary.
terrifying in that movie.
So terrifying. Like, oh my God.
You really got to be sitting in my seat. And he's got the roll cage, and then just... Oh.
Like the actresses were actually scared of him.
Yeah.
Because of his eyes. They said that interviews with him afterwards, it was like when he was playing that character.
Kurt Russell's got that he can have an intimidating demeanor.
I love Kurt Russell.
He's funny when he needs to be, but he's also dark.
He's great. I mean, Kurt Russell, he's amazing. He's got amazing hair too.
Yes.
He's got Kurt Russell's got the best hair out of anybody. And he's so that movie, he's just like, yeah, I love it. I love
Yeah.
that movie. So I mean, like the opening, the first group of characters is really brutal. Like
Mhm.
the girls got her leg hanging out the car.
Yeah. I think a big complaint about it is that Quentin's dialogue is very indulgent and goes on for a long time. But honestly, I love it because
I love it
it's
too.
not super exposition heavy dialogue where we're trying to, move a plot along. Sometimes it's just nice to watch characters just hang out and, shoot the shit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know. I don't remember having any. I mean, I liked both those movies because it was made as a double feature, right?
Mm-hmm.
With Planet Terror,
Yeah.
and I like Planet Terror is great too.
I gotta watch Planet Terror. I've never
Oh
seen it.
man,
I know,
you
you've
gotta.
told me so much to watch Planet Terror.
It's so over the top. It's so over the top, and Tarantino is in there, and he has this like really, really, really horrible scene,
Mm-hmm.
but it's great.
It's the double feature from the two of them, from him and Rodriguez, is their ode to
Yeah,
was it
right.
Grindhouse movies,
Grindhouse, yeah.
where it's usually like had B actors, B movies that were over the top, gory, and very pornographic.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and the Planet Terror is genius. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
And they're a nice like. Actually, they really work as a double feature because they're so like.
Which
Death
one are you
Proof is
supposed to watch first?
um.
Like, is it Planet Terror then Death Proof?
Hmm. I would watch Death Proof first, and then Planet Terror.
Okay.
Just because like I feel like because Death Proof is most. I don't know.
Does Death
Planet
Proof
Terror
have a
is so
slower
good.
pace?
Yeah, Death Proof has a slower pace,
Mm-hmm.
and Planet Terror is more apocalyptic.
Yeah. No, I think that's a good case. Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of Death Proof has a slow pace, but it's like a great build up, and that car like chase at the end where that Australian stunt actress is like holding on to the hood of a car. I don't think I've ever felt like when I watched, I was like, I haven't felt this intense for like a stunt in a long time. It was really amazing. And
Oh man.
there's no wires. She's literally holding on to the hood of this car by like, inches of hood
Yeah.
going at like
They're,
speed.
they're married in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah, yeah, with Kurt Russell. Yeah, she shows up a lot in his movies. She was Uma Thurman's stunt double in the Kill Bill movies. She's an
Oh
actual
really?
stunt woman, yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love that. He has the black car and they have the white car, right? And
Yeah.
it's so good. Like I think we were talking about Reservoir Dogs earlier, and like I prefer Death Proof to Reservoir Dogs.
Me too. I mean, they're both pretty kick-ass movies, but I just love Death Proof. It's so fun.
Like I don't know. I think Death Proof is so much more unique too.
Yeah.
Like this whole like two stunt doubles trying to kill each other.
Yeah.
It's like great. Yeah, it's also one of his like when there was a lot of stuff about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, kind of being sexist or something because not having the female characters stuff. It's like
Yeah,
watch Kill Bill.
she doesn't have that I feel like people had a problem with they didn't give Margot Robbie enough lines of dialogue.
Yeah, but the movie wasn't really about her.
It is, but it like
Yeah, which is why I was thinking like if you're really a fan of his, like watch Kill Bill and Death Proof, and you'll see that like these characters in there are just like amazing.
I think people just probably people who like had these opinions that the movie was sexist in the way it portrayed with Margot Robbie's characters, that she doesn't really have a big like dramatic objective or want and need in the story. She just kind of goes out and enjoys her day and happens to go by a movie theater where one of her movies is playing and just kind of joins in with the audience and enjoys her day. Like there's nothing about going to Spawn Ranch, dealing with the Manson family. She's more of like a very passive character, which I think which is why it got this like criticism, but Quentin rejects their hypothesis.
Oh yeah.
It was like brought up to him at some sort of press junket, and he just says, "I just reject your hypothesis."
Yes. He's good at that sort of thing. My favorite interview with him is
Was it with Channel 4? That guy from Channel 4? Yeah. I'm shutting your butt down.
oh, not that one. It's earlier than that. And it's this woman who's
Oh, yeah. She's like haranguing for the violence in Kill Bill.
yeah. And she's like, but why the gratuitous violence?
Because it's so much fun, Jan. Get it?
Yeah. Oh, that's so good.
Yeah, I remember I first watched that and I felt like, yeah, you.
So, what are our closing thoughts on the Tarantino?
Oh man, we didn't get to talk about the mall. We missed out on Hateful Eight. What else did we? What else
Jackie
did we
Brown.
miss? Jackie Brown. Oh yeah,
Robert De Niro is great in that movie.
yeah. And he's just that random scene where his blonde girlfriend is just annoying him, and he shoots her in the parking lot. It's like again, he just kills off characters.
Oh, Robert De Niro is amazing in there. He's such a loser, right? Like he's really he's not he's not the normal Robert De Niro.
Jackie Brown, I think, was his third movie. It was his follow-up to Pulp Fiction, I believe. Yeah. We're talking mostly about his movies, but I know he has a lot of writing credits and acting credits on other stuff. Like, do you ever see True Romance? Yeah, he has a writing credit on True Romance, which I saw, and it definitely feels like a Quentin movie, but it was, directed by someone else. It's very apparent. Yeah. And then he also starred in From Dusk Till Dawn. I
haven't seen.
And he gets Salma Hayek's toes shoved in his mouth.
Yeah. I've seen the scene there.
Oh God, we didn't even mention the foot fetish, the infamous foot fetish.
Isn't it he let that go public?
It's kind of like a joke that there's a lot of, feet, dirty feet in Quentin's movies.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, I guess closing thoughts. Quentin was one of those thunderstrike artists for me, and I assume for a lot of people. Like when I watched Pulp Fiction and all of his movies after, it really just kind of, it always inspires me and reminds me why I love movies and why I want to make them. Because I love the way they feel. Like, it's hard to describe, like you said earlier, but really it was just everything I thought I were about, like how a movie should be and what the rules are of like how to tell a story in a movie, beginning, middle, and end and all that stuff was just, it felt like all that was just ripped up, and my mind was suddenly just open. I was like, wow, you can literally do anything with this medium. You can change genres in the middle. You can kill your main character off in the middle. I know he wasn't the first one to do that, which is, I think Psycho was famous for doing that. But still, he continues it, and even just straight up changing, we're watching a live action flick and all of a sudden it swaps and we're watching an animated, like, Japanese anime. Just all that stuff is so stylized.
Yeah.
It's very stylized, but it doesn't lack substance. And I think style, for me, it's his style that makes him so fun as an artist to watch, and a rebel.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah. And forever. But I guess we'll end off on this. He says that his next movie will be his last. I think we at least gotta bring this up. He says his next movie will be his last one.
I know, which is a lot of pressure.
Yeah. I think he wants to end off his career on a high note to leave us wanting more, which I respect and I admire and I get. But I have this funny feeling that it won't be his last.
It can't be, right?
I have a funny feeling that it won't be the end. If Scorsese and Spielberg and Coppola, all these guys, can be in their 80s and still making movies, I think Quentin can too. And
I think he'll get bored.
He became a father during the COVID pandemic, so now he's like he's now raising a child, and maybe he'll just live out the rest of his days, writing novels or stage plays and not doing movies ever. But I think there's a chance that him being a father will give him a new outlook on life, and maybe he might want to come back.
Well, let's wait until his next movie comes out. And
Yeah, we'll judge it then. Maybe we'll do another follow-up episode. But until then, this has been Rebel Artist Through Time.
it sure has. RATT for sure.
Yeah, rat-ta-ta. Alrighty, buddy. Until next time.
Yeah, until next time.